40th degree. It is just a glorious day. Clemson wins the toss, defers, getting the football into the second half. And that's back through the end zone, and here we go. Great to have you with us. It's senior day. The seniors, their families, introduced before the game. Military Appreciation Day, and this is Jonathan Bennett. It's only fitting that the Citadel would be in town for Military Appreciation Day.
It fits perfectly. Bennett being the transfer from Liberty, came to the Citadel to be a full-time starter. He's the team's leading rusher, but a capable passer as well. Can make all the throws. This is a Bulldog option attack offense, but they'll take their shots when it's the time.
All right, so first down. And that's a direct snap to the running back. That's Garrison Johnson, and we'll see a lot of different runners in there today for the Citadel. We'll see Johnson, we'll see Cooper Wallace, we'll see Corey Ibrahim, along with Johnny Crawford III.
And with all those running backs, you know what's coming. It's a methodical attack. They're totally content taking 3 or 4 yards a pop. The mentality in this game has to be offensively, stay on the field, try to take the clock out quickly with limiting possessions in this game.
And again, running back takes a direct snap, breaks one tackle, then gobbled up. Clemson wears purple uniforms on this Military Appreciation Day, if you're curious, in reverence to the Purple Heart. The oldest United States military decoration. Believe it or not, General George Washington awarded the first Purple Heart-shaped badges to soldiers who fought in the Continental Army back during the American Revolution. So a third down and 7. Clemson, one of the best third down defenses in all of college football, 11th best in the country. This time the quarterback Bennett in the shotgun, under pressure, lets it fly, and it is caught across midfield. How about that? A floater into the arms. They call him JGB, Javante Graves Billups.
And that was a heck of a blitz pickup too by the running back. Clemson went man coverage. You bring pressure. That's a phenomenal job by Garrison Johnson. Just give him enough time to get that ball off. You get past the secondary, and the Citadel coming up with a big play early.
Then they're going to say, hold the phone here a minute. First down at the Clemson 47. They pitch it on the outside to the man who just caught that pass a moment ago. That was Graves Billups, and a very short gain on first down.
A strong tackle by Tyler Venables too at the safety spot. You can see how aggressive these safeties are with this option attack. Both the strong and free safety are going to be asked to make tackles in the alley. Venables, senior for this team, played a lot of football. Obviously his dad, Brent, once upon a time DC here, now the head man at Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma playing Georgia today, and here comes the option. Able to beat the defender around the corner. Boy, that's good, quick, powerful running at the end of that by Cooper Wallace, coming off a season high 84 rushing yards in that come from behind win over Wofford last Saturday.
Yeah, just talking about Venables making a tackle in the alley this time. Teammate right there in the alley as well, not able to get him there. Cooper Wallace, they said this guy's fast, had a couple big runs for them a week ago in their win versus Wofford. Gotta like the drive so far for the Bulldogs.
Boy, you can tell Dabo is hot on that sideline at somebody. So a third down, and stuffed right at the line of scrimmage, and a late flag comes in. That was after the tackle had already been made, and this
personal foul, face mask,
wow,
defense number 0, 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That is Barrett Carter, their outstanding senior. Boy, what a season he has had.
The player can stay in due to the foul.
Dabo made the comment before the season started. Carter, one of the best players he's ever coached.
Yeah, they hand the rock inside to Garrison Johnson, and Carter in there trying to make a play.
I don't know.
It didn't feel like he got anything. If anything, it was Brown, the second man, who just had pressure on the helmet that came off. I think Dabo has every reason to be frustrated with that call.
Yeah, it didn't appear to be. Short gain, maybe a yard on first down. So, I mean, already, here we are, 11-11 to go in the opening quarter. A couple of first downs. A 24-yard completion on a third down. And great protection, and oh my goodness! There was not a Clemson defender within 20 yards of Saul Diaz. That should have been a touchdown.
Yeah, it's a great play. They're going to get the tight end right down the middle. It's the first time the Citadel used tempo, and right when they used tempo, you could tell they schemed something up that week in practice, knowing that they're going to get a specific look from Clemson. They take advantage, at least with the play call, not with the throw. That's a missed opportunity there. This ball game should be 7-0.
Oh boy, what a break for the Tigers. And a little delay. And this is going to be close to a first down. He needed to get to the 15. I think he's about a half a yard shy. No, they're going to spot him at the 17. He's 2 yards short.
This is good push, using both backs, one as a protector, the other one running the rock, as we're seeing the ace ump cam there. On 3rd and long, sometimes you're expecting the pass there, catch him off guard, running the rock, and it looks like the Citadel's going to stay on the field and try to pick up this 4th down.
Well, field goals aren't going to win this game for the Citadel. So here we go, under center on a 4th and 2, and a timeout called by the Citadel, I think.
A flag.
Oh, you're right, it was a flag. Referee back there just dropped it right next to his foot.
Illegal substitution, offense, more than 11 players breaking the huddle. 5-yard penalty. It's still 4th down.
All right, you go from 4th and 2 now to 4th and 7. Do you think about kicking a field goal or no?
I think so now, because the play call you would get to in this scenario is the play call you just ran on 3rd down. That inside run call. It'd be hard to catch Clemson off guard again with another draw play. This offense is not built to beat passing attacks on 4th and 7.
Well, I mean to tell you, Dabo is giving an earful to his defense. All right, so this will be Ben Barnes. He's hit on 14 of 24 this season. This one from exactly 40 yards out, the left-footed kicker. Snap, good hold. And it's no good, wide right.
Man, how big is that missed throw to the tight end?
Oh, man. A little bit high, but he just jerked it wide right. You're watching CW Football Saturday, presented by Verizon. Helicopter, our beautiful aerial coverage from Clemson, South Carolina. Delighted to have you with us. And early Thanksgiving, everybody. We have so much to be thankful for. Touchdown missed, field goal missed, and now it's Clemson. Cade Klubnik, 17-7, his record as a starter. He's really cut down on the turnovers this year. And a first down throw and catch to the talented freshman. They have a couple of them. Bryant Wesco, that's his 23rd catch of the year. Good numbers here, really good compared to last year.
No doubt, protecting the football compared to last year especially, and I said it in the open, it feels like sometimes this production gets lost in the shuffle because the quarterback standard here is so high, but he's having a strong year, and you said it, that touchdown to interception ratio, not having those turnovers has really been the difference maker this year.
Well, in fact, the only team in all of the FBS that has turned the ball over fewer times than these Clemson Tigers plays against Notre Dame up in New York tonight. Army.
That's a big game for a lot of programs.
Boy, there are a lot of big games already in the books today.
If Army were to win that one, that makes it real interesting.
Oh, boy.
In terms of those schools that are right on the fringe of CFP or not.
Maffa carries for a first down. Boy, what an outstanding career Maffa has had. 6 100-yard games this season. He had 2 in his career coming into this year. And that puts him at exactly 1,000 yards on the season with that carry. Wide receiver thinking about throwing it. Now going to take off and run it. And still on his feet. Turner all the way down inside the 30-yard, right at the 30-yard line.
You got to get a little outside zone, and then it's a reverse pass. Good discipline by Cole Turner. It's not there, and there's a lot of green grass in front of you. He makes one guy miss and picks up a big gain.
Klubnik to throw it, looking for the end zone, open receiver, and that is a touchdown for Antonio Williams. That did not take long.
Not long at all. Antonio Williams, second in the ACC in touchdown catches with 8, make it 9 now. He's their go-to guy, and Clemson wasted no time getting big plays on the field and 6 points on the board.
Well, you mentioned a touchdown, his 9th. He's the first player since the great T. Higgins here at Clemson with 9 receiving touchdowns in a season. Boy, what a great player Higgins was then and still is now.
Oh, yeah.
Point after is good. .30 yards. Klubnik to Williams. 7-zip Tigers.
Past Antonio Williams. This linebacker's connected into the box, so it gives an easy vertical route to the corner. One-on-one matchups, man coverage. The Citadel can't match up with Clemson that way. And that was actually a talking point this week with the staff, knowing that, hey, if we get into man coverage, Clemson's going to pick us apart all day. We got to mix up our zone coverage looks. At least that was the intention going into the game. Right there, you get tempo, you get the Citadel on their heels a little bit, and the touchdown happens.
All right, let's send it back to the fellows in the studio. Tell you what, Stanford, Cal, and obviously SMU, which, by the way, with a win today, clinches a spot in the Atlantic Coast Conference Championship game. They've served themselves quite well first year in the ACC.
I find myself thinking back to our meeting in week 4 with Rhett Lashley, where he was concerned about their depth and getting into November. That has not been a concern at all so far.
You know, a lot of people who haven't followed SMU, they made that quarterback change this year.
Yeah, we had him as we're seeing the ace up cam here. Little handoff to Cooper Wallace working inside. Looking back to that the first drive for the Citadel, first drive of this ball game, had some good run plays. Obviously sustained a solid drive there. You're kicking yourself for not taking advantage of that shot down the middle they had to their tight end. This ball game right now should be 7-7.
Yeah, and if you have any hope of beating a team like Clemson, if you're the Citadel out of the FCS, those are just plays that when you get them, you can't miss them. It's a pretty good run play right there. It'll be yard short of a first down, so 3rd down and 1. Garrison Johnson. So you've got the quarterback, as Max mentioned, who is the leading rusher for this team. But then you have 3 others of up over 250 yards rushing. They pitch it 3rd and 1. And off to the races is Garrison Johnson, and that'll be a first down for the Citadel. Tell you, they've come out to play here now.
They're not messing around, Tom. We got a lot of Tiger defenders crunched up in the box. You're expecting the inside run. Utilize the option, flip it outside, and we were like talking with the Clemson or the Citadel staff this week. They knew that, hey, physicality-wise, we can't match up with Clemson. They're recruiting 4- and 5-star guys. We're having to sit outside history class and try to get walk-ons to come out onto our team. We got to utilize the option game and put defenders in binds to ultimately move the football.
Number 22 with a 22-yard gain, and is that a catch? No. Looks like he's, they're going to say he's out of bounds.
First glance, it looked like he came down with this thing.
Oh, no.
No. Can't secure it. Can't use the ground to secure the ball there.
So the running back Wallace ruled out of bounds and incomplete. 2nd down and 10.
Seen their defensive coordinator, Wes Goodwin. Cool story, don't always hear it too, but when Brent Venables moved up from the senior defensive analyst to a coordinator spot, that is a significant jump. Most coordinators are at least a linebacker coach, D-line coach, some level of position coach. That was not the case for Goodwin. Shows the trust that Dabo Sweeney had in him, giving him the defensive reins.
Well, I tell you what, he was getting an earful from Dabo on the last drive, and he might get it again here in a minute. That was a 9-yard run.
It's always a tall task for these defensive coordinators when these option attacks, you're not seeing them in the ACC anymore. Georgia Tech's gone a different direction. They're rare, and sometimes if you're not gap sound, it's just a different attack that can catch you off guard.
Well, they didn't give him the 2 full yards, so it's 3rd down and 2, and that is a 3rd down conversion. That is already 60 rushing yards.
And it's been this same play, the triple option. You got a dive man, and they're giving the dive the ball. You can pull it. You got the quarterback's legs as an option, or the pitch man like we saw earlier on in this drive.
Citadel 3 of 4 on 3rd down so far in this game, and if you're just joining us, missed on a wide open receiver down the middle of the field, which should have been a touchdown. But when you start committing penalties, and if indeed this is on the Bulldogs, it's going to be tough sledding.
False start.
Yep.
Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty. It's still 1st down.
Trevor Scales, you know all about the running game, my man. 2,800 plus at Harvard.
I appreciate that, but we'll take you back to my high school days where I was running that wing T as the beatback. A lot of what this philosophically is to just bludgeon the opponent. And when it comes to defending this bad boy, defensive end TJ Parker mentioned it's about doing strictly your job and not trying to overcompensate for somebody else's job. That's where you see those wide gaps created and those running backs taking advantage for the Citadel.
Well, it's tough enough 1st and 10. This is 1st and 15. But a nice pickup on the 1st down run. We told you the quarterback, Bennett. Now, in a college game, and we talk about this all the time, for the life of me, I can't understand it. We'll get back to this after you break this down. Pretty good, nifty footwork there.
Without a doubt, using a quarterback draw. Good tackle there by Brown. He's one of those linebackers they're trying to get. Sammy Brown, that is, but behind him, you're going to see some true freshman linebackers. They're trying to get more work in today.
But in the college game, they count sacks and, tackles for loss against your running. This guy has over 620 rushing yards this year, but it's only over 500 because of the sacks, and there's another one. He is dropped by Peter Woods. Well, Woods has been a good player, man. They expect big things from him.
This dude pops on film. They move him around. What a pass rush move right there. He engages and swims around. He's played a little bit on the edge for them at the defensive end spot, taking advantage of his size and athleticism. Lately, they've moved him inside. It's allowed TJ Parker to be a pass rusher on the outside, but Peter Woods feels like he's next in line of these elite Clemson defensive tackles.
Well, they've had so many great ones through the years. All right, so a 3rd down and 13. They need to get to the 25-yard line to convert. And it's intercepted. Look at the big fella. Payton Page. Look at the big man. He made it. Touchdown. Now that's a way for Payton Page to celebrate Senior Day.
They're going to get right here. Big Payton Payne at the defensive tackle spot. Drops out. We're saying the athleticism of his buddy Peter Woods. Gotta love a big man. Touchdown. Payton Page taking it to the house.
Yeah, Ricardo Jones delivering that final block. I mean, he was looking for the oxygen tank there about 2 steps into the end zone.
It's like, guys, catch up with me. Block this quarterback. Let me get in the house.
Senior out of Greensboro, North Carolina. 62-yard interception return for a touchdown. Congratulations on Senior Day to Page. Greensboro, North Carolina. His 50th game today for Payton Page, and he gets the interception and takes it to the end zone. Well, I mean, Citadel's got to be wondering what happened here. We had a chance for a touchdown. Yeah, we gave up one. And then all of a sudden we got a good drive going. Commit a penalty that put him in a 1st and 15. Wound up throwing the pick 6. And out to the 25 it goes. You know, it really is. You brought it up earlier. You touched on it briefly, Max. It's incredible. When you think about this Citadel football team 1 year ago, they had 29 players on their team that had never started for their high school team or never played high school football, period.
Yeah, and when you position that against what Clemson's able to do, where it's 4- and 5-star guys down the entire roster, hence what we just saw there in terms of the 15 consecutive seasons under Dabo Swinney getting it done. Just 2 totally different ways, completely different ways of building a roster. I mean, we were talking with head coach Maurice Drayton, and I referenced it, but literally standing outside history classes and science classes at school saying, hey, you want to come play football? Guys that were not recruited to play football there, but find themselves in the NBA program or something like that with a football background, and sure, I'll put some pads on and play some college football. There's a good amount of players on the Citadel roster that have that dynamic.
Boy, that's really, really nice, patient running. First carry by Corey Ibrahim, sophomore out of Raleigh, North Carolina. Well done.
Yeah, seeing the ace cam there. Looks like a different crop of defensive tackles in there. Coach Dabo Swinney trying to get more of the backup, some reps there, which I'd expect would be a theme in today's game.
First down and 10. Quarterback trying to find some running room and is able to lunge forward. Gets just beyond the line of scrimmage for a gain of a yard. Wrapped up by Green. This is such a young Clemson defense. I mean, you know, yes, you have Carter, who's a senior. Yes, Trey Williams and Payton Page seniors. But, man, you start bouncing around in the secondary. You got a freshman, a junior, a sophomore. Another corner, Khalil Barnes, sophomore. Woods, sophomore.
That's what would make me especially excited if I was a Clemson fan about next year, because on paper, the amount of talent they have returning, I know we're focused on a couple games that remain, but offensively and defensively, they have a lot of talent coming back.
I tell you, they are really running it right down Clemson's throat. You can say, okay, it's 14-0, but that's Johnny Crawford III for a first down.
Yeah, this is the 3rd running back we've seen for the Citadel. Crawford's more of the speedster, the quick back. Good job bursting through that first level, and then just got to make a linebacker miss, and you're seeing these big runs pop for the Citadel. You're Maurice Drayton, you got to like the way that your team started. It's just those 2 plays, like we've talked about, the miss pass to the tight end down the middle of the field, and then the pick 6. Leaves your team behind 2 touchdowns, but doing some good things offensively.
This may be the final play of the opening quarter. And another good run. This time it's Crawford again. And he's tackled at the 32-yard line. Let's see if they, no, that's going to be it. So Coach Drayton's team has shown up here. I mean, like you just said, you take away 2-3 plays, and it might look a little bit different on that scoreboard right now. But the scoreboard tells us it is indeed 14-0 in favor of Clemson on this military.
Being a pick 6, and then the other being the missed pass to the tight end that's led this game to be lopsided after 1.
It's a 23rd offensive play run in this game so far, and Max mentioned 5 have been run offensively for Clemson. And they're closing in on 100 rushing yards against this Clemson defense.
The Citadel offense, we've talked about, hey, they're an option attack, but it's not the traditional, I mean, what people are used to in the past of under center, and that action is what their offensive coordinator Lamar Owens did in college playing for Navy under Paul Johnson. A lot more shotgun, which allows you to get to different formations and different looks offensively.
First man through is Crawford, and he's stuffed for maybe a gain of a yard, which will bring up a 4th down and 3.
You got to go for it.
Oh, yeah.
Already down 14 points. In no man's land. If you punt it, might not even be able to pin them. Obviously too long for a field goal. But you're in that awkward zone. It's a long 3. Looks like they're actually going to decide to punt this and pin them.
All right. Well, Coach Drayton was the one who shared with us on Wednesday. You and I almost fell out of our chair on that video call when he told us about the 29 guys last year. And he said most of them are back this year.
I didn't even know what to ask as a follow-up question because I couldn't. I mean, imagine running a.
No, your follow-up was, how is that even possible?
Yeah, exactly. Literally, I was like, I don't even know.
5-yard penalty. It's still 4th down.
I was like, walk me through your recruiting pitch. Like, are you literally hanging outside classrooms waiting for guys to pop up? And he said, that's exactly what it is. We're tracking anyone that comes in, especially to their grad school programs. Any student that enrolls that has a football background in any capacity, you better believe you're going to get a handshake from Maurice Drayton walking into campus.
Absolutely. Antonio Williams stands back at his 10. James Platt punts it away. And they'll try and bat it back, and they do. They'll pen the Tigers right around the 1 or the 2, or was he? He was in the end zone. How about that?
I don't know how Clemson didn't block that either. They had 2 or 3 guys right around the punter's foot. You're going to see step into the end zone.
The ball was illegally touched.
Got to reestablish yourself. Both those feet are in the end zone. That's a touchback.
I'd like to remind you, closed captioning for CW Football Saturday is brought to you by Skechers hands-free slip-ins.
That's tough in that area of the field too. When you're in what I thought was 4-down territory, if you're going to punt it, you got to pin them. You cannot have a touchback because you only gain a net 20 yards there.
Baffa on first down, picks up close to 3. So again for Clemson, it's the Citadel today, and then against in-state rival South Carolina, who's having a really nice year, next week.
That'll be a fun one too. The stakes of that rivalry, right? I guess South Carolina's in as good of a position, as strong as of a position as they've been in recent memory.
Incomplete on the pass attempt to Williams. It'll bring up 3rd down and 8. And if you're Clemson, you don't play another conference game. You've already finished the year at 7-1. And you would lose a tiebreak with Miami. So the only chance, SMU's already in. The only chance Clemson has of getting to the ACC championship game is if Miami loses on the road in the Dome next week against Syracuse. And Syracuse is more than capable.
Without a doubt, their offense can put up some points.
We've seen the last 3 weeks, the Orange winning 2 of their last 3. Crossing pattern, Williams, good move. And that is a first down up to the 33.
Job by Cade Klubnik getting through his progressions. Middle of the field vacates. Get the ball down to Antonio Williams. Already got 1 touchdown catch on the day. It's a good gain there.
Flag comes in late. I don't know if there was a face mask there. TJ Moore with the ball in his hand. That came in from the secondary.
Illegal block in the back.
Oh.
Offense, number 5. 5-yard, 10-yard penalty. First down.
That'll be against the backup tight end Josh Sapp. And our aerial footage is brought to you by Lucas Oil. They made the trip down from Indianapolis. That's where one of the stops of Maurice Drayton. He had spent 7 years in the National Football League. And one of those years was with the Indianapolis Colts.
Now his 3rd stop, or 3rd stint, I should say, with the Citadel, where he played his college football.
Baffa on first down, his best run of the day. He's up to the 31-yard line.
Just to add on to your point about the tiebreaker too that we were talking about a couple plays ago, as we're seeing the ace ump cam, Phil Maffa working the right side and cutting back up, but Clemson loses the tiebreaker to Miami because it goes to that second tier after head-to-head. It's win percentage versus common opponents. Miami's gone 4-0 versus Virginia Tech, Louisville, Florida State, and Wake Forest. Clemson obviously lost to Louisville, so that's the difference maker.
Down the middle of the field and nearly intercepted. Klubnik threw that into double coverage. And nearly walking away with an interception was Bradley Jones. So that'll bring up 3rd down and 13 for the Tigers.
Break on the football there by Jones. Was an all-conference NAIA guy, then transferred into the Citadel. He's done a good job for them at corner. It's the first time Clemson's really been behind the sticks offensively. That first drive was incredibly efficient.
Klubnik will run it. He had a 50-yard touchdown last week, and he has enough to get the first down on this carry. In fact, he's had a couple of runs this year of better than 50 yards.
His legs are such a weapon. I call it the X factor because he's not the type of quarterback where you're going to scheme up design runs for him consistently, in part because I don't think he has the quickness in the hole as much. He certainly has a straight ahead speed, but also the size as well. He's not an overly big quarterback, so you don't want to run him too much, but man, when things break down or he drops back and you're not able to get pressure on him, we saw it last week versus Pitt, his legs can pick up big chunks of yards.
15-yard run on a 3rd down and 13. Little play fake to Maffa all day to throw, and he's looking for the home run ball, and wide open, spinning the catch, and that is a touchdown for Wesco Jr. "55-yard bomb." Boy, these freshman receivers, they are going to be something more in Wesco. And they've had some pretty good guys at that position through the years, too.
Without a doubt, they got an even deeper class than that. Tank Kelly, Noble Johnson as well. They dial up a double move on the outside. Trying to get Brian Wesco Jr. will come back and go here on staff. What an offense that was during his era here.
Let's send it back to Mike and Michael back in our studios.
Here you go. Here you go, boss.
Cal did that last week for us. They get down early and then they have to fight back. Going down, we had them last week versus Syracuse, down 14 early. Fought back, made that a game, but rivalry week, hard to do that.
So 1st down for the Citadel, trailing 21-0. And the quarterback will keep it. Good run. Man, they have run the ball exceptionally well against Clemson. I mean, it is a Clemson defense loaded with 4- and 5-star recruits, and Citadel not backing down.
Yeah, no one accounts for Jonathan Bennett there. You account for the pitch man, you account for the dive man. No one accounted for the quarterback's legs.
Handed to the first man through this time, Ibrahim, and nowhere to go this time. You know, you look at Clemson on defense this season, they've allowed 23 points per game. I mean, that's out of the top 50. This is a defense that has been used to ever since Dabo took over as the head man, being ranked in the top 30 in virtually every category there is. In fact, going back in the college football playoff era in 2014, Clemson is ranked in the top 30 in total defense every year. #1 in 3rd down defense since 2014. But they've been gashed with some big plays so far this season. You know, you define explosives as, what, 10 or more in the run game, 20 or more in the pass game. They've given up 48 runs of longer than 10. They've given up 35 plays, passing plays longer than 20. That's 81 explosive plays.
Yeah, it is. Back to your third down defense comment, too. They've had some special edge rushers here, and you alluded to it earlier on. This is a sophomore class especially. The edge rushers, Jaheim Lawson, A.J. Hoffler, T.J. Parker's really coming on. That class, especially looking ahead in the future as well, it feels like the skill set of what those pass rushers could be awfully special in the years ahead.
And how about that Sammy Brown as a true freshman this year? On a 3rd down and 10, they stay on the ground. Ibrahim. And the Bulldogs will punt it away. 3 straight runs, getting a total of 4 yards.
See the ace Cam utilizing the jet motion, try to get Clemson's defense displaced. They're not fooled. It's a good stand by the Tigers.
There's some big-time games going around in college football today. Teams trying to get into the college football playoff. We'll try and walk you through a lot of that later, but you can pretty much say goodbye to Ole Miss. The Rebels came in ranked as a top 10 team, and they lost again today to the Florida Gators, their 3rd of the year. And as they say down south, that is D-U-N. Done.
Helps out Tennessee for sure.
Yep. Among us, United States Air Force officer and test pilot, lunar module pilot of Apollo 16 in 1972. He was the 10th man ever to walk on the moon. He was the youngest man ever to walk on the moon.
That bomber jacket is sick.
89. Man, he looks great. Clemson with the football and a throw on 1st down. Catch made by Turner. Takes a big hit, but good enough for a 1st down. You know, we were talking about the college football playoff rankings. They come out every Tuesday. And, you know, look, Wade Manuel, athletic director, University of Michigan, and that entire committee, it's not easy. And, you know, you get so much noise and distraction and people thinking, well, you know, isn't a 2-loss SEC team better than a 1-loss Big Ten or whatever team or ACC team? Well, Ole Miss lost for the 3rd time today. You can just scratch them out.
You're scratching them out.
Yeah, maybe you put in Tennessee there. But, I mean, the thing about some of those Big Ten teams, you got to remember, Ohio State's only loss was to number 1 Oregon. Indiana's only loss was to number 2 Ohio State. And Penn State's only loss was to number 2 Ohio State.
Notre Dame's a team that's really interesting to me today, and just moving forward as well. They have Army, undefeated Army squad, and Notre Dame has by far and away the worst loss.
Yep.
On that picture, but you said it, Tennessee's now in the equation. Texas A&M's interesting as well. They play Auburn today and then Texas next week.
I tell you, Texas is a team to me that I don't know how in the world they're ranked where they're ranked. I mean, I just don't get it. Their only team they've played, really good team they've played all year long was Georgia, and they got boat raced at home by Georgia.
And that's why the next week Texas A&M Texas game could have real implications for if one of those teams or one SEC team is on the outs looking in. If Indiana does get in, that game could be big time.
Oh, we're off to the races, and this is Jay Haynes. The 20, the 10, Jay to the house. That's another youngster, the redshirt freshman out of Roanoke, Alabama, Jay Haynes. He had half his rushing total on that carry of the year. Hoosier for the point after. 28-0 Clemson. Jay Haynes, his longest run this season was 19 yards. That one goes for 70. CW Football Saturday, presented by Verizon.
True.
Now it'll be 8 degrees there.
The perfect time with Thanksgiving travel and everything.
Yeah, right.
I'm the one coming with the West Coast. I jinxed myself.
Yeah, you're right. Well, now you can get game day ready from your team's merch. It's a tailgate must-have. Scan the QR code and shop now. The Clemson faithful. They're a whole pile of them. Man, this town, there are a lot of them across the country, but man, this town gets jumping on a Saturday, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it was fun. We were talking with the staff yesterday, and the ops staff that is, and they were saying when Dabo took over, because I remember when I was in the 2000s, Clemson had a different uniform combination. It felt like every single week, and they would mix in the purple more often than not. And then Dabo said, "Hey, I'm the head man. Guys are worried way too much about what uniform we're wearing this week. We're always going to be orange tops at home, white tops on the road, and then purple for just one game a year late in the season. And when they come out, man, these unis are sick."
Garrison Johnson on first down. Under 6 minutes to go here in the second quarter, and that's Johnson wincing in pain, bent over at the waist as he goes back to the sideline. Remember, feeling he caught that one in the wrong area.
Yeah. Remember, this is the last game of the season for the Citadel, so all these graduating seniors, this is their last opportunity.
We're talking about how well the Bulldogs have run the football so far in this game. Take a look at that, almost equaling what Clemson gives up per game.
Yep. They've been efficient on the ground again, especially in the first quarter. Those two plays that got away from them. Then you lost momentum in this ball game, and you've been playing from behind ever since. Big third down here, though, especially protecting your defense, who they've been on the field a bunch lately.
Third down and 5. First man through and off to the races is Crawford. He's to the 40, the 30. Caught from behind, but a fumble on the play. Did he fumble at the end of the play?
The ruling on the field is the runner was down prior to the ball becoming loose.
All right.
First down.
There we have it. What a big run.
Avion Terrell was hawking him the whole way down. They call it Wolf. Wolf. That ball is out. That ball is out. I think that's a phenomenal play by Terrell.
I think you're right that it was out, but I think once he did land that he still had control of the ball. There it's loose, and then when he comes down, does he corral it? I don't know if anybody actually has possession of it. It looked like it was pinned against Crawford's leg.
I think that whole sequence there, that ball is moving the entire time, and Terrell's the guy that ends up with it at the end.
All right.
And you could see Terrell was hawking him for probably 10, 15 yards. He knew he was going to catch him. That was not the concern. You could tell he was trying to time it so he could punch it perfectly. Credit the speed and football awareness from Terrell.
And Mike Mothershed back at our studios. What do you think here? There's a lot of moving parts there.
After further review, the runner fumbled the ball. It was recovered in the immediate continuing action by the defense. First down at the 20-yard line, Clemson.
So what a play that is. Sorry, Mike, they jumped all over you on the call here. Avion Terrell. I mean, that's an all-out hustle play from the sophomore out of Atlanta.
That's textbook. That's going to be on every team's takeaway film this week. Yes, a lot of DBs are, taught to punch the ball, but again, can't stress enough. You could tell he was timing it from 10, 15 yards away, just waiting for Crawford to get loose with that football and then punch out. It's a great play.
Crawford 5 carries for 64 yards, but he is caught from behind, stripped of the football, and it is a fumble. This is Adam Randall, junior out of Myrtle Beach, with just his 15th catch of the year.
Yeah, Troy Stellato, one of their receivers, out for the year, had thumb surgery this week, so we've seen some of those names in the next crop of receivers. Turner and then Randall is there as well right there. Those are two guys, especially with 2 full quarters remaining, expect those guys to get a lot of usage.
Good, strong running. That was Haynes who had the 70-yard touchdown to cap off the last drive. Good-looking young back.
They love his vision and instincts in the hole. Not as big of a guy. I mean, if Phil Moffa's 6'1", 230, Haynes is only 5'11", 195. But even though he is more of a space slasher guy, can get it done in between the tackles. And man, I know Phil Moffa, he walked out for senior day. There's going to be a lot of carries to be had next year for whether it's Jay Haynes, Keith Adams Jr. is another back we'll probably see today.
Jarvis Green.
Yep.
Caleb Brown, a redshirt freshman out of Hollywood, South Carolina. He's really been coming on strong here, and he's the injured Bulldog. If you're looking for a cable news network that respects all Americans, and you have a new home with News Nation. See why News Nation is America's fastest growing cable news network. To find News Nation on your screen, go to joinnn.com. This young man is going to gingerly get a little help and limp over to the sideline. We're down to 3:35 until halftime. The Tigers with a 28-0 lead. So first down from their own 46-yard line. Williams there in motion. Klubnik rolling, fires, and wide open, and then slipping down is Williams to the 31. First down. You know, Clemson lost the first game of the season. They played a really good first half against Georgia, and you know, about midway through the third quarter, the wheels came off, and you know, they got kicked around by Georgia. But then they got on a long winning streak. Here's a floater towards the end zone, and it's overthrown to Williams. They got on a long winning streak, but they really beat the mid to lower tier teams in the Atlantic Coast Conference. It's not to say that wins don't mean anything. Of course they mean everything. But then they ran into Louisville. And on any given day, I mean, we've seen from Louisville another really up and down kind of team. Yep. But man, when they're good, they're really good. And they came in here and won 2 weeks ago, which put the Tigers really behind the 8 ball, not only for a trip to the ACC championship potentially, but maybe an at-large bid for the college football playoff. Because it doesn't look like the ACC unless, you know, Miami were to say win out, right, or win next week. But then you get to the championship game. I mean, would a 2-loss Miami team or a 2-loss SMU team make it? I don't know.
And then you get to the chaos scenarios, right? You need Army to beat Notre Dame. You need Auburn to beat Texas A&M today. You need Texas A&M to respond next week and beat Texas. You need these teams to stub their toe, and maybe there's a backdoor path for a second ACC team to get in.
Klubnik slides down after picking up the first down to the 19-yard line. I just, you know, you look at the losses and you can say the conference you're in, and that we're going to get to it. But Tennessee has lost to Arkansas this year. Arkansas has lost to Oklahoma State.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You know, and they're a lot of stuff you can debate. We're at the 2-minute timeout. Clemson trying to add to this 28-0 lead.
Let's take a look at today's game summary presented by Pacific Life, creating financial security for over 150 years. Cade Klubnik started off hot, efficient, 3 for 3 that first drive. Tapped off by a touchdown catch to Antonio Williams, and then big Payton Page got in for a touchdown thanks to the blitz by Sammy Brown right up the middle. And then Jay Haynes, we knew he was going to get extra work today, trying to rest Phil Maffa, and the speedster, the true freshman, taking it to the house.
All right, so first down for the Tigers. 2 minutes to go until halftime. Clemson with a 28-0 lead, and Klubnik all day to throw, now flushed out, and he's still looking. He's going to run it, and his ball is loose, and I think he was able to fall back on top of it, or do it go out of bounds. They're talking about it on the sideline, and they're saying the ball went out of bounds right around the 13-yard line.
Great effort by Bradley Jones, the corner for the Citadel, taking that ball away. And man, Tom, it feels like there's been, what, 5 plays this game that could have gone a different way. They've all gone Clemson's way, which has allowed this game to be 28-0. But man, if those 5 had gone the other way, this game could be a lot closer.
Well, you're not lying. Klubnik, who himself, if you took away the sack yards, he would be closing in on 500 rushing yards this year.
Said it, his legs are certainly an X factor. Strong tackle there by Will Pickren, the reserve safety for the Citadel. And I think as Klubnik continues to get more comfortable, today is his 15 starts, played a lot of football. He's no longer just this, new young guy trying to find his way, growing from the mistakes. No, he's played a lot of football for Dabo Swinney. Dabo's got a lot of belief in who he is, and just the more reps he has, the more confidence he can get, and I think that will allow him to pick his spots running the ball when it's needed to pick up big games.
And close to the goal line, and it is a touchdown. That's Haynes again. He had the 70-yarder, and now from 9 yards out.
See the ace cam coming right at you, right up the middle. It's a great job by this Clemson offensive line, who we said in the open, this is a banged-up offensive line. Tristan Lee not playing today. Don't believe Marcus Tate's playing either. You're really on your 3rd-string left tackle, and then you have to shift everyone around. You wouldn't notice it at all with how effective Clemson's been on the ground today.
Loser for the point after. And it's a 35-0 Clemson lead. Coming up in 2 weeks from today, CW Courtside Saturday is back. It all tips off in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Syracuse travels to South Bend to take on the Irish, off to a really good start. And that'll be followed by Virginia, of course, no longer having Mr. Bennett running the operation. They'll head down to Dallas to take on SMU. CW Courtside Saturday begins with a doubleheader. December the 7th, noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, only on the CW. Looking forward to that. Clemson basketball off to a 4-1 start. Their only loss coming on the road at Boise State. Of course, they made a deep run into the NCAA tournament a year ago. Their longest run since the late 70s, when Larry Nance and company running around here in Clemson. That's going back a ways. See, you only know Nance as Nance Jr.
Exactly. I'm a huge LeBron guy, so I know the days of when Larry Nance Jr. won a championship with LeBron. I can appreciate it, though. I've seen pictures of his pops.
Well, that was when they had that run of big men around here. They had Tree Rollins. They had Larry Nance. They had Eldon Campbell. Gosh, I'm forgetting a really, really good one off the top of my head. Doggone it.
I wish I was more resourceful with old school Clemson basketball knowledge for you.
The Davis. Yep. Dale Davis. They've had some really good ones around here. There's been a lot of good running by this Citadel team here. Good to see Johnson's okay.
Yeah, credit the inside, especially the guard in the center. You had Nico Rodriguez Pena at the left guard. Mike Bartolucci at center, Sawyer Whitman at right guard. They've had good push on the interior of this offensive line.
Yeah, our boss, Rob Reichley, reminded me immediately all the years of covering ACC basketball. The guy I forgot. How could I forget him? I watched him play in the pros all the time when I was living in Chicago. Horace Grant.
Wow.
That one broken up.
Again, we have the Kelly Green mouth guard. We were talking about that last week. So we're getting a one-on-one matchup on the outside. They're trying to get Dervon Pesnell. He's really their vertical threat, hence why this is the first time we've called his name, and it's on a go ball. But again, Avion Terrell in coverage. It's a good play.
23 seconds remain. Should be a 3rd down and 4 from their own 31-yard line. First man through, and another big hole. I don't know what Crawford was jumping over. It might have been something running across the field that I can't see from here, but it's a great run. Well, he's had a nice day, as Garrison Johnson.
It's like when your thumb slips and you accidentally hit the hurdle button rather than the juke button.
Yeah, I hear you. Back shoulder throw, knocked down.
Speaking of which, every guy under 40 that had NCAA football, the video game, has that one school that they would pick, the random school, and then bring them to the promised land.
Yeah.
My school was the Citadel.
Really? Why?
It was, candidly, as a kid from the Pacific Northwest, it was the most random school when you're scrolling through there. And I would say, hey, I'm going to bring this school to prominence, get 5-star recruits to come down here. And we were beating Alabama and Georgia. And I know other guys have like North Texas. The schools that you sleep on, bringing them to the promised land in video games.
Nice. Now he thought about letting it fly. Instead, he steps out of bounds with 2 seconds left in the half. You know, we'll talk about it later, but there is.
It's 3rd down.
Everything that is right about a university, and it's not to say anything against any other university, but I mean the Citadel. We asked, Coach Drayton. He says, now look, what we were founded on as a military school, he said, but now we look at ourselves as a leadership laboratory. Over a third of the student body, cadets. Over a third go into the military after they're finished with college, and that holds true for this football team. He's going to throw it up in the air, and that'll be the end of the first half. Towards the exits, it's going to be chilly tonight. Onside kick on the opening kickoff, and I think the Bulldogs have the ball. No. Clemson has it. And some of the Citadel players are still saying, wait a minute. So it is Tiger football.
First off, I love the call by head coach Maurice Drayton. You're heavy underdogs, down 35, last game of the season, and there's a lot of grass right there to make something happen. You got 2 hands on the football.
Game clock to 14 minutes, 58 seconds.
I don't know how Clemson got that. Good job by Cole Turner, I believe it was, dislodging that football.
1:458 on the game clock, please.
There's a lot of grass open there.
Yo, there sure, and there were nothing but white jerseys around there. Klubnik will start the second half.
Reminds you of that Saints second half kickoff versus the Colts way back in the day. Super Bowl got that done.
First down and a throw, incomplete. Had an eye on Haynes, and good pressure that time. Really first time all day long. That's Jordan Marks. There you see the numbers on Klubnik. That's just his 4th incompletion of a day. And a couple of touchdowns. He had 2 touchdowns and a game-winning rushing touchdown in the win over Pitt. We talked about Haynes. And Haynes will get it here, and another big hole off to the left side. Runs through a tackle, and then is tripped up down to the 25-yard line. Haynes up over 100 yards. He came in on the year with 151 rushing yards.
It's an excellent block by right tackle Walker Parks, who usually is the right guard, having to move out to tackle because of the, like we talked about, Tristan Lee being down, Marcus Tate being down. So Blake Miller, the normal right tackle, moves over to left tackle. The whole shuffle, but a great pull right there, and you're getting Haynes on the edge in a hurry.
Each team closing in on 200 rushing yards in the game. Fake to Haynes. Blitz coming off the edge. Spinning away from trouble. Klubnik. And then throws. Is that a catch? Yes, it is a catch inside the 10-yard line. Looked like that may have been bobbled for a minute by the backup tight end, Pat Henry.
Great pocket mobility by Cade Klubnik. You escape and you keep your eyes downfield. You know where your receivers are throwing. Didn't catch it the first time, but I don't think that ball touched the ground. Technically a tight end. Runs routes like a receiver, though. He's a playmaker for Clemson.
He's only a sophomore. Brenningstool is their big stud. He's their second leading receiver. He's a tight end. But then you've got Sapp, only a sophomore, Dixon, a freshman, and Bettencourt, who they're very excited about, another freshman. Williams to the end zone. Touchdown, Tigers. So that puts Williams double digits in touchdowns for the year. We told you there had not been a Clemson receiver with 9 in a season since T. Higgins going back to 2019. So Williams is match 9 and now at 10. Blown dead before it starts. Hogan Morton is going to get a chance to kick the point after.
Unabated to the backfield. Defense number 34. The penalty is enforced half the distance to the goal. It's still the try down.
And look at him. He's like, man, I want a chance to get on the board here.
The penalty is declined. It's still the try down.
Good for him.
He's like, I like the footing I have. I like the patch of grass I'm in right here. I don't need the extra yard and a half.
He's been watching that freshman Hoosier take a hold of that job, and he wants a chance here. And another flag. Is that the same thing?
Ball start.
No.
Offense number 64. 5-yard penalty. It's still the try down.
The Citadel has a unique formation here. They have basically 5 guys tackle and outside. They have no one over the guard and center gap. If Clemson wanted to run a fake, which I don't imagine they would, you easily could get away with it. I think that's why Clemson's feeling the need to kick step aggressively to their right to get out of there. May have caused that false start.
Right, so now a third time, and it's good. So Hogan Morton, congratulations, young man. A point after. A lot of the backups going to get in probably starting about now with a 42-0 game, a minute 47 into the second half.
The football facility is top 3 in the country. It feels like what they did in that 2012 year, I believe it was, when Dabo really got this thing rolling, investing into what was the arms race of facilities. They set the standard, and it feels like all other schools are trying to catch up with them.
How about it, Trevor? You liked it over there yesterday.
Big fan, especially of the weight room, if I do say so myself. But they have clearly used all of those amenities to develop a youth within this program that has clearly taken another step and will continue to take steps forward. Now, a lot of the talk surrounding not only that group is their maturity, but also regarding Dabo Swinney's lack of depth from the transfer portal. Now, a lot of folks may have criticized that move, but he is clearly comfortable with the depth that they've already built up, and it's for good reason, as we've already seen today.
Boy, I tell you, he was adamant yesterday in that, you know, he said everybody has said that I am anti-portal. He said that is not the case. He said we sit down with our position groups and we walk through the entire roster. So offensive line, okay, and you go through the whole thing. And then you come up and they had said they thought they needed help this year at the center position.
Yep.
Right? And look, as it's turned out, their center, Ryan Lithicum, has played very, very well. But, you know, they were active for a little while anyway in the portal. And they brought in transfer players, but, you know, once they go around and they start saying, okay, well, what about the secondary, and what about the running back room, and what about the wide receiver room? You know, do we want to bring in some guy? Or he'll ask the position coaches, do you like the young guys better? and their potential moving forward. And he said that's how we are where we are right now anyway.
And it's like Trevor said, a reason why so many young guys play. My biggest takeaway there is, like you said, he's not anti-portal, which I think is naturally what people think. It's more so the decision point of, I know I can't get into a bidding war with Ohio State and Oregon and schools like Ole Miss and whatnot, so I'm never going to get that first, second, third round NFL draft pick type of transfer. And so from there, I'd rather have a homegrown high school talent, which they're already recruiting at a high clip anyways, top 15 national recruiting class anyways. I'd rather give that true freshman, redshirt freshman the opportunity than bring some outside player in and jeopardize the strong culture that was my biggest takeaway, the culture that they've built on the back of championships. If this program hadn't won national championships in recent memory, I don't think Dabo would have his strict stance on the portal or more selective approach on the portal.
Well, you know,
that's where he's at.
Look, you know, as my old friend Harry Carey used to say, right? He used to say, look, there's 3 sides to every story, not 2 sides. So there's your side, there's my side, and there's the truth. And it's not a matter of somebody being truthful or untruthful or whatever it might be. But for those that have, you know, been critical of Dabo, they'll say, hey, man, nobody's going to take away the fact that he won 8 ACC titles, 6 in a row, 6 straight years he takes his team to the college football playoff, right? 6 in a row. He wins the 2 national championships, but he's not been to a college football playoff since 2020. That's now 4 years ago. Okay, he's not going to win the ACC this year, the regular season, and he didn't win it last year. So, you know, I mean, you can see why you can totally go to bat for Dabo and understand everything he's done, and I think he's done as good a job as any college football coach putting together a program as there has been in recent memory. But at the end of the day, when you're the head football coach at Clemson, you're expected to compete for national championships, and right now they're not.
And I would imagine it's going to come to a head this year, this next year, I should say, because you have so many sophomore and juniors coming back that philosophy of homegrown talent then reap the benefits on the back end when they're upperclassmen, that's going to come to fruition next season. Cade Klubnik's going to be one of the better college quarterbacks returning in college football. You have all the edge rushers that we've talked about. I would imagine Dabo sticks with that same philosophy this offseason. But if it doesn't work next season for them, I could see a changing of philosophy.
How about that? The quarterback, a late pitch, and that was beautifully done. And this running game continues to produce good numbers. Ibrahim. And I don't want anybody to misunderstand what we're talking or what I was talking about here in regard to Dabo. But there are just certain programs out there that, man, they'll spoil you. And Clemson spoiled this fan base for a long, long time.
And it's a fair point for us to bring up. It's a fair point for us to bring up because from our seat, I can't tell the viewer at home how different it is. Clemson is the only team we've talked to all year that transfer portal and getting transfers is not a top of that. Backdrop is matching the color of all the fans in attendance, that orange-purple vibe.
Yep, beautiful. Down the field and good coverage down there. Because we're starting to see, you know, a few backups, but not entirely. I mean, that's Ashton Frampton. He's a freshman, but he plays a lot. His dad, Alonzo, is a head coach at Arkansas Pine Bluff. They really like his future. He played in 10 games as a true freshman last year.
To be that young and have that frame at 6'2", 200, it's a great foundation for a corner.
I want to circle back to Trevor here for a second, and because, well, you know, I mean, Dabo Swinney could not have been more gracious with his time yesterday. We sat in that office of his for an hour yesterday talking about virtually everything under the sun except for this game today, quite honest. But Trevor, what was your takeaway from that whole thing?
I think one of the most interesting points of conversation we had with him was what will go into effect when these rosters get slimmed down, and then the concept of revenue sharing and how that then tightens up rosters and evens the playing field for a school like Clemson that, to y'all's point earlier, may not have the backing from alumni from a financial basis, but can compete with the best of them with regards to culture.
Yeah, he's adamant, and he has spoken about this regularly, about the new rule which will go into effect about 105 scholarships. Every player will have to be on scholarships, which will weed out. As there's a big run by the quarterback. He steps out of bounds at the 20. It means that there's a chance you don't have any walk-ons anymore. And, of course, Dabo Swinney was a walk-on at Alabama. And he looked us directly in the eye and he said, look, he said, if it wasn't for walk-ons, I wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation with you guys right now. Because I was a walk-on at Alabama. They gave me a chance to be a grad assistant. And he said, and now I'm the head coach at Clemson because I was able to walk onto the team.
And in a more recent memory, Hunter Renfrow, star receiver for Clemson's another guy he referenced that the Hunter Renfrow Clemson story would not have happened if they do cap rosters at 105, because you're not in a position to take on a walk-on like Hunter Renfrow. That's got to be a scholarship guy.
And, you know, he brought up, I thought the most fascinating part of that whole conversation is when he started to talk about the possibility or the danger of scholarship manipulation.
Yep.
Where guys, certain guys at certain big schools, right? And Clemson's one of those schools where they conceivably would make so much money in NIL that they could pay their own way from college to college and not use one of those scholarships.
And that's why capping the rosters at 105 is so critical. And we'll see. And what Trevor and Tom are talking about is the U.S. House settlement that said that scheduled to go under final review in April, but college coaches now are having to prepare with this recruiting class of, hey, if there is revenue sharing and that legislation goes into effect where schools are going to have the ability to access $20.5 million to allocate to all their student athletes. Many programs will obviously give a lion's share of that to the football program. Different schools are going to have different strategic angles for how to do that. And to a man, Matt Rule was critical of the cap as we're getting a 3rd and 1. Finish my story on the back end.
First man through, and that is going to be a first down once again by Johnson.
And the reason, to a man, every head coach is against, at least every head coach I've heard talk about it, is against the scholarship cap. But the reason it's in place is so schools like Alabama and maybe Clemson and Georgia can't stockpile 140 guys, all of NIL or scholarship equivalent type of bodies, to try to cap them, so you can't just have like the old days of when you had a full like JV team in addition to your scholarship team. So it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. I don't think any of the head coaches know exactly every nuance that's going to play out. We talked with Bill O'Brien, Boston College's head coach, a couple weeks ago. It's going to be much more salary cap and having to manage a salary cap type of vibe than college football's ever seen before. And
that's where O'Brien, I mean, is such an interesting figure in all this, because you may remember when he was with the Houston Texans in the NFL, he was not only the head coach. There was a time there he was also the GM.
Yeah, we were talking about saying he's opened up the Excel spreadsheet, and you're going to have to make those decisions, right? At a school like Clemson, do you pay that high school recruit $500,000 before he's even played a snap on the field, but your linebacker who's been productive for you might not be getting paid that much? You have to make those decisions, and then vice versa. If you're a smaller program, it's not Clemson, you might offer that high school kid $1 million.
How about this? Into the end zone. And really, what a nice payoff for Garrison Johnson, who has had an outstanding game here today against Clemson. I mean, it's amazing. This guy was at Northwestern State. He enrolled in grad school, was incepted into grad school, and walked on to the football team. And here he's having one of the best games of his career against Clemson.
That dude does not look like a walk-on. No. He's not playing like a walk-on. The fact that he's just roaming your campus and you pick him up, what a player he is and what a game he's having.
14 plays, 75 yards, chewing up better than 8 minutes, and leaping into the end zone, Garrison Johnson. How are you, man?
That's stuck in the memory forever, baby.
Dude, I didn't even get into the 30s, man, so hey, good on you. I don't know what your coach was saying then. If you have a 40-inch vertical, a big back like you, I'm hurdling every single time I'm down the sideline.
Wow.
Yeah, the Citadel, what, 271 yards rushing for today. That might not show up on the scoreboard, but they've been effective.
Good return out to the 35-yard line. Again, that's Haynes, who's just had a big-time day. And let's go back to Mike Hamm in the studio. I don't know about that. 41.5 is big league vertical.
I want to see Mike Yam. I think Mike Yam's got a 40-inch vert.
Christopher Vezina takes over at quarterback. They're going to let him throw it on first down and air it out. And it's incomplete. He was looking for T.J. Moore. Vezina is out of Birmingham, Alabama. He's a redshirt freshman, 6'4", 210-pounder. He's played in, this is his 7th game. He's thrown 20 passes. He's not thrown a touchdown or an interception. 5-star high school recruit. Man, in high school, you talk about numbers, over 7,200 yards and 59 touchdowns. And he's going to run it. And man, can he run? Still on his feet. All the way to the 30.
Showing that his legs can be a factor. Little cornerback draw. You send the running back into the flat. The backers vacate. A lot of green grass down the middle. Not accounting for his legs. Showing off the athleticism.
35-yard run by Vezina. We might see sophomore Trent Pierman in this one. Vezina going to run it again and nowhere to go this time.
And if I was Vezina too, I'd find a lot of comfort too in the fact that we're in an era where all these big programs, I don't care if you're bringing in 5-star quarterbacks, that most programs have no problem going into the portal like that to go get the next proven starter at a different school. We were just talking off air about Will Howard and the Ohio State situation. So if you're at Clemson and you're Vezina and you know that your head coach's philosophy is not to go out and get in the portal and get a quarterback and I'm going to get my opportunity and I'm going to get developed, obviously he's a 5-star guy and feels like he could probably beat out anyone. But that's a legitimate factor if I was a high school recruit getting recruited by Dabo that, you know, I'm going to get every single shot and then some to win that starting job.
Well, Klubnik's going to come back. I mean, he's made 20 tonight, his 25th start. 17-7 record, about to go to 18-7 as a starter. Turned the ball over a lot last year. You know, a lot of high highs, a lot of low lows. He has improved so tremendously this year. And as you talked about, figures to be one of the top guys around looking ahead to 2025. But that will be his final year of eligibility.
Yep, he was some people's dark horse Heisman pick come into the season. Obviously, it didn't work out that way. But he'll be right at in every conversation with top returning quarterbacks.
Vezina able to throw it this time, and a catch made by Turner down to the 11-yard line.
Get him a little glance route, good timing. If you wait at all, you allow the safety to get involved. Good job throwing it low and protecting your receiver.
You know, and some might say, you know, hey, look, you know, why are you throwing the ball? I mean, we have over a quarter left in this game, and a lot of these guys rarely ever get a chance to play. And Dabo was so honest about it. He said, look, I don't want to run it up on anybody if it even comes to that. And he wasn't assuming they would. He said, but you have to let some of these guys who have been working in practice going all the way back to July, you know, you got to give them a chance to play some football.
And I think it's a two-way street as well. Maurice Drayton, I mean, again, this is the Citadel's last game of the year. They want to play real football, regardless of the score. Doesn't want to just be a hand the ball off operation.
Told you he came in 13 out of 20. Has not thrown a touchdown nor an interception. A lot of the games have been like this. Blitz coming, and Vezina is dropped. On the blitz, it's Bradley Jones who gets his first sack of the year.
We've seen this corner blitz a few times. Coming from the boundary, Vezina's eyes go to the right, doesn't realize that he's hot. No one accounts for the corner cat blitz. And Bradley Jones, who showed up a couple times on film today, coming up with a sack.
2-year starter, and he's only a sophomore. He's out of Greenwood, South Carolina. Clock running down to 1:45 here in the third. And a third down and forever. And Vezina lays it off. Oh, pretty good juke there, but well short of the first down to the 15-yard line is Kelly. And are they going to go for it on 4th down or kick a field goal? They're going to send out the field goal unit, looks like. Hoosier will come on.
Seeing Dabo coaching up his young quarterback. Knows how critical these reps are. Not many moments throughout the season where you're able to get that real-life reps. A moment's notice, Vizina could be the guy.
Field goal is good, right down the middle. So with less than a minute to go in the 3rd quarter, that makes it a 45-7 Clemson lead.
And what a day Cade Klubnik had. We talked about him in the open. Sometimes his performance goes underappreciated just because the standard of quarterback play here is extremely high. He had a very efficient and effective day. Saw his legs come up a little bit as well, but the deep ball passes, and then right here, just getting the ball out of his hands quickly. Cade Klubnik is at his best when he's able to get the ball out of his hands quickly, not hang on to it. 12 for 16, not a lot of attempts, but 3 touchdowns, and then the theme of the season, no interceptions. He has been phenomenal in that category. Touchdown to interception ratio is top 5 in the country, and continued that today.
That one going to bounce into the end zone. Only 2 episodes remain in the final season of Superman and Lois. Coming up Monday night, the Man of Steel fights a fate he never imagined possible. That's getting old. Oh, God, don't even say it. But these new limitations are only the beginning of Superman's problems. Don't miss Superman and Lois, Monday, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here on the CW. Look at that dude. He ain't getting old.
That's a Superman right there.
That looks like Trev this morning. Saw him in a health club, getting after it.
That's getting it done.
He didn't want to embarrass people down there.
That's getting it done.
But TB, you were in there with me, dog. Like,
yeah, but
come on now.
It's a whole different animal now.
You guys are just calling me out now. Everyone that's at home saying, Max, why aren't you in there?
Oh, you mean you weren't in there?
I was getting my beauty sleep, I guess. My Starbucks coffee.
Listen, I understand the tempo, Max, but our producer was out at Bojangles getting his grub on. So it's, everybody has their own Saturday routine, baby. It is what it is.
Just trying to get in rhythm.
Oh, man, you're getting it back. After he dropped the baby gap on you. When you're built like Trevor, all your clothes look like you got him at Baby Gap, right?
It's a backhanded compliment. Filling out those arm sleeves. I can only dream of doing that.
That'll be the final play of the 3rd quarter. Tell you, the Citadel should be quite proud. Yeah, well, at their age and a libation or two, you can run down that and run up the hill for that matter. Here's a pass incomplete. You know, a lot of interesting games going on. I know Mike and Michael will keep you up to speed on what's going on, but we told you earlier today, you know, the biggest game in college football today, no doubt, was Indiana undefeated, ranked 5th, going into Ohio State. Ohio State looked like the #2 team in the country, and they will get a chance to play #1 again if they can beat Michigan next week. Their only loss was a 1-point loss on the road at Oregon. And if Ohio State wins on Saturday against their rival, something they haven't done in 3 years, they would play the Ducks again. But, you know, you look at some other games we talked about. Ole Miss losing for the 3rd time, which more than likely means an end to their college football playoff hopes. And I'd like to remind you before we talk more about that, this Tuesday NXT brings a double dose of action. Both teams, the men's and the women's North American titles are on the line. 2 massive Iron Survivor qualifying matches as well. Don't miss an all-new NXT Tuesday at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here on the CW. But, you know, you got a couple games going on right now that could have an unbelievable say on the college football playoff rankings. You know, you've got, we mentioned earlier, Oregon, idle. Ohio State handles Indiana. Texas is beating up on Kentucky. But you've got Penn State, which just took a 1-point lead. But there's nearly an entire 4th quarter to go. against a 6-4 Minnesota team that's had really come on strong as the year has gone on. Mississippi State or Ole Miss was in the rankings, and now they're going to drop out.
And I think that's big for Indiana, too. I know Indiana lost today, but there's people that would make the argument that a one-loss Indiana team should be left out in place of a two-loss SEC team. So now Ole Miss is one less team that Indiana needs to battle with. You said it, Penn State's fighting tooth and nail, and right now the Big 12 race, which is not necessarily in that top 10 picture, but you got Arizona State beating up on their, I guess, beating BYU.
Yep.
Arizona State controls their destiny to get into the Big 12 championship game. And then Colorado's down versus Kansas right now, so that Big 12 chaos could heat up in a big way.
I don't know how anybody, and look, the strength of schedule when all is said and done, it's not going to be the same. Georgia has a #1 strength of schedule in the country. I mean, they have had a year where it's laid out in front of you. That
thanks to their Clemson matchup.
That's exactly right. Where it's laid out in front of you, that that's the schedule you get. I go back to Indiana for a second, and when the season started, you're talking about an Indiana team that had 3 wins last year, right? When the season started, on their schedule was the defending national champion Michigan Wolverines, the team that lost to Michigan in the national championship game, Washington, and Ohio State. All 3 of those teams were on their schedule. Now, we didn't know that Jim Harbaugh was leaving. We didn't know that all of a sudden, off to Alabama, right?
Yep,
from Washington.
Yep.
And so all of a sudden, those 2 teams have taken major steps backwards. But I just have a hard time understanding Kalen DeBoer. His name slipped my mind for a brief second. I just have a hard time understanding how you could put, and let's go back to say Ole Miss before today, okay? Ole Miss lost to Kentucky, which has 3 wins this year, okay? They also, they have another tough loss, granted, ranked team, but no way can you penalize Indiana playing on the road and their only loss is to Ohio State in Columbus, and you're going to take a 2-loss Ole Miss team before today that lost to Kentucky or Tennessee that lost to, they got blown out of the gym by Georgia at home, right? And they lost to Arkansas.
Yeah, their feather in the cap is their Bama win. Trev, what you got?
Simply just going to mention the idea of the losses on the schedule from a raw win-loss standpoint is one thing, but even the consistency of play between week to week needs to be taken into account. Taking Georgia, for example, that Kentucky team that you just mentioned, Georgia struggles one week against them and then looks like world beaters in Austin, Texas.
Right.
It's tough to then assess each of these teams within this conference that is highly touted for a reason, but has shown no consistency across the board as far as parity goes.
Well, I mean, look, the SEC is the best conference, and they have been for a long, long time, and you give them credit for it. But I just have a hard time understanding at the end of the day, Georgia, to me, gets a benefit of the doubt because of their schedule, and Alabama because they did beat Georgia.
Yeah, the middle of the SEC, as we're seeing Vizina on the sideline. The middle of the SEC is much stronger than the middle of the Big Ten this year, with programs like Iowa, USC, and Wisconsin not being in tip-top shape, as we're seeing the ace ump cam. Vizina taking his eyes to the left, working out to the right. Washington's another program you talked about. Yeah, Iowa, Washington, Wisconsin, USC, Michigan State's down. Programs that would operate that middle of the Big Ten.
Yep.
They're down in the SEC. Those top, 8, 9 teams are strong. Again, interested to see what happens with Army Notre Dame, too.
Oh, for sure.
Notre Dame has the
clear
cut worst loss of any team in that top 15 conversation versus NIU, a bottom half MAC school. I think they're in if they win out. But if that's a close ball game, and I mean, if you're a Texas A&M type of team, that's a 3-loss team. I mean, it'll be tough. I think there's no way a 1-loss Notre Dame's left out in place of a 3-loss SEC school.
No chance. How did he get that ball away? He did, and it's incomplete. No, you're spot on.
Look at the pass rush here. from the Citadel, getting some extra pressure there. I don't know how he got that out. That's showing that weight room work.
You're right about that. That was impressive.
It will be interesting, though, to round out that point. Georgia schedules Clemson, an out-of-conference game for week 1. It will be interesting when it comes down to it if strength of schedule is the deciding factor and the committee rewards teams for playing stronger opponents. That'll incentivize the Georgia-Clemson type of matchups to continue. If a lesser schedule gets rewarded, you run the risk of those type of matchups in early September going away. Because if you're Georgia, why would you schedule that if you're not going to get rewarded end of the season?
One of the reasons you have to is because the SEC is the only major conference that doesn't go to a 9th conference game. So, you know, if all of a sudden you had to play 9 games in the SEC, well,
but that could always get replaced too with a Sun Belt school as athletic budgets get tightened, and hey, I'll go get beat up on by Georgia if I can get $1 million and help fund a program.
Yeah, it's a block. That is the 6th blocked field goal against Clemson this year.
The Citadel playing hard.
You're watching CW Football Saturday, presented by Verizon. Big congratulations out to SMU. First year in the Atlantic Coast Conference. 1 loss this entire season. They've not lost a game in the league. Their only loss was against BYU by 3 points. It's a pretty good year.
Talk about a program being ahead of schedule too. I don't think they knew they were going to be competitive in the ACC, but I don't even think Rhett Lashley thought they were going to be college football playoff worthy. And they were some people's dark horse pick to win the ACC, but with what that school can bring NIL-wise, and Rhett Lashley got the contract extension this week too, I think days are even brighter ahead.
Oh, the little flea flicker, and how about this? It's going to be a touchdown. Going the distance is Javonte Graves Billups. And how about that? I want to tell you what now, Dabo is not been happy with some of the things that have gone on defensively here today.
You just have no one accounting for them. They didn't even need the flea flicker. I thought a safety bit on the flea flicker. No one covered Javonte Graves Billups. Only Jonathan Bennett's 2nd completion of the day. That's as easy as it gets. Great call, and so used to the Citadel just running the rock. A little bit of a surprise there, throwing the ball, results in a touchdown.
Young man who's a junior out of Mobile, Alabama, getting his 4th touchdown of the year. That one for 66 yards. And now the point after from Ben Barnes. Missed a field goal earlier in this one. And that'll make it a 45-14 game. This is CW Football Saturday, and it's presented by Verizon.
Tommy had a ski 2 years ago, so I got a couple of ski trips post-football season I'll break it out with.
Very nice.
My baby giraffe-like body on skis is trying to make my way down the blues.
And I'm sure with all that social media stuff that you and your bride have going on, that, I mean, you'll be staying in like some 9-star joint, right?
There'll be some ski videos in some capacity.
We have a 3rd quarterback coming into the game now. We saw, or are we? I know Vizina's going to stay in there. We saw Pierman getting loosened up, sophomore, who grew up right down the road here, right in Clemson. D.W. Daniel High School, big powerhouse here in town. Phil Maloney, one of the coaches over there, does an excellent job.
You said it earlier, but they're giving Vizina an opportunity to run this offense. If this drive goes according to plan, he might end this game with more attempts than Klubnik did.
So we're going to get a look at Keith Adams Jr. He's a sophomore out of St. George, Utah. They call him Hammerhead because when he hits that hole, you're going to feel it. Hezi Umumeng, freshman out of Georgia. Jarvis Green, we might see him a little bit. We've seen him in a game. It's a 45-14 game in favor of Clemson, and we're under 10 minutes to go. That's what I'm talking about. That's why they call him Hammerhead. One of the great nicknames in all of college football. Hammerhead.
Especially if you're running back, as we see the ace ump cam, we're going to see Caleb Brown, the safety for the Citadel, come right into the frame and unfortunately meets a Hammerhead right there.
Oh my gosh.
That's why I played quarterback, not defense. That's a physical game right there.
Man. Hammerhead. And here's Ezio Mumeng.
Holding. Offense, number 73. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
For the most part, this Clemson offensive line's done a good job. I mean, just from an operational standpoint, we've talked about the shift that they had. Bunch of guys banged up. They had 9 offensive linemen down, which at that point, you're not even able to practice in a normal fashion. You have to figure out, you can't field a first and a second team. So guys playing new spots. A lot of these guys, big recruits, but also some walk-ons as well, getting it done.
Charge timeout. Clemson, their first of the half.
So we'll take a timeout.
On the field.
9:08 to go. Back in a moment.
$150 years. Another day at the office for Cade Klubnik. Efficient today, only 16 pass attempts, but made the most of the completions that he had. And in the Citadel rushing attack, they're not going to come out of here with a win, but they're going to come out of here with a lot of experience and confidence about what they were able to do on the ground versus this Clemson team. And early on in this game, this really shifted all the momentum onto the side of Clemson. Big Payton Page, the senior defensive tackle. Dabo said he was the least likely guy to get that defensive touchdown, but he gets it done anyways.
Man, what an incredible thrill that must be on senior day.
Family in town, that's awesome. It's the type of highlight clip you'll be showing to the end of time.
Oh boy, that looked, yeah, flags everywhere. I was getting ready to say either a horse collar or a shot to the head. Ezio Mumeng, freshman out of Ackworth, Georgia.
You can see the ace ump cam here coming right at him. Look, it was the corner.
Personal foul, horse collar tackle, defense number 17. That 15-yard penalty is added to the end of the play. Automatic first down.
They're going to get Thomas Wyatt in there, and we haven't said his name today, and unfortunately that's the first time we are saying it, but he is a heck of a player.
Correction, the foul was on number 2.
Yeah, they're getting Thomas Wyatt, heck of a player, leads the team in tackles, tackle for loss, and sacks. Number 2, that is. He's a leader of this defense. 91 tackles on the season coming into this this game. Highly productive player for the Citadel.
Grad student. A lot of these players playing for the Citadel are already in grad school.
Yeah, Clemson on senior day is going to have some of their roster that have an NFL decision. Do you go to the NFL? Do you come back? For the Citadel, it's real life or come back and play football. Their star receiver, Javonte Graves-Billups, potentially might go to PT school or come back and play football. It's a different, speaks to the different mentalities of both these rosters.
Wide open receiver, and that is Turner. Yeah, you know, that's what Drayton was telling us. He said, you know,
they're going to get Jackson Crosby on that corner route. Nice throw by Vizina.
He made the comment, he says, you know, we don't fight losing guys to other schools. We lose guys to the workforce or the military.
Cool seeing Crosby get that catch and met on the sideline by Taj Boyd. Dabo said he's got 25 former players as part of his staff. Very much a family atmosphere. Everyone says it. I walked away yesterday from Clemson really feeling it. You walk into that building, it's family, family, family.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's funny sometimes you see guys on television all the time and Clemson on national TV all the time like they are on CW here today. But I saw Dabo in a setting where nobody else was around. It was down in a little Florida town. And there were just a bunch of kids outside, young kids. My son was one of them, out playing pickup basketball. And the next thing you know, this guy just shows up. I couldn't even tell who it was from far away. And he starts organizing teams and he's coaching them up. And I mean, just on a middle of the day, could not have been cooler. It was really nice to see.
It's awesome. It's impressive what he's built here.
Oh man, it's incredible.
I know it's easy to, you alluded to it earlier, you get so used to the national championships, but this was a program that, I mean, they were not necessarily a blue blood when I was, in the mid 2000s. Mm-hmm. Dabo built them up to being a blue blood program for the current generation, and I know they've plateaued off the past couple of years. But what he has built in recent memory is awfully impressive.
And, here we're talking about them, plateau. I mean, they've lost 2 games. They're going to go into the last game of the season. I mean, most programs, do you get spoiled.
It really is the Nick Saban
Citadel.
effect. You got so used to these programs.
It will be 30 seconds.
It's about a dozen programs in college football that it feels like they all believe they should be winning a national title every single year because of what Nick Saban did at Alabama, and that's just that math doesn't math. Like, if you're the fact that Clemson's won 2 in recent memory, that's getting it done. As we're seeing seeds 11 through 20, who we've talked about. Tennessee's got to be smiling today with the loss from Ole Miss. Boise State, if they win, if they win out, they'll be in.
Yeah,
SMU.
Now BYU just scored a touchdown, and it is a 28-23 deficit now for the Cougars on the road at Arizona State. They need to win to get into the Big 12 championship game. SMU already in the ACC championship game. A&M a huge game next weekend. If A&M wins that game, they're in the SEC title game.
What a run the Kansas Jayhawks are on right now. They beat Iowa State, who was the leader.
They go to the bench for another number 0, does Clemson. Bringing in there's no way that's Carter Barrett. Was it a defensive player getting a touchdown?
Look how hyped everyone is. They're throwing the senior a bone, getting him a touchdown.
Barrett Carter getting the touchdown. How about that? And it's his senior day today.
It was cool. He walked into our, when we were meeting with Dabo, mid-coaches meeting, Barrett Carter walked in, and Dabo's smiling ear to ear, has another block kick. Man, it's been an issue today.
It's been an issue all year. That's 7 of them now this season. You can say, well, their backup guys are in there. That's a problem, period. But how about that? Barrett Carter gets his first rushing touchdown.
He's coming
they had Woods in there leading as a fullback.
Yeah, they got the ace up cam there. Giving your middle linebacker some love. And to finish my thought, Barrett Carter walked in at our coaches' meetings, and Dabo smiling ear to ear. Could not speak more highly of this player, hence why he's giving him the rock on senior day. And then that's just low. That's low. That was not because of the rush on the screen's left-hand side. That's just because the player on the right puts a paw up. That's poor operation by Clemson on that one.
So a couple of other games we're keeping an eye on, and they'll bring you up to speed on the student. That Texas game is by no means over. Kentucky's on the move, only down by 10 at Texas, almost a full quarter to go there. Minnesota is in Penn State territory, trailing by 4 there. Penn State gets a second loss, and they're probably not going to make the playoff. They've lost to Ohio State at home, and the game is at Minnesota right now.
And to finish my thought process on the Kansas Jayhawks, because I know they weren't on that list, but 3 weeks ago they beat Iowa State. Iowa State controlled their destiny to win the Big 12 championship. They were gone. Last week they beat BYU. BYU controlled their destiny. They're gone. Now Colorado. It could be 3 weeks in a row. Kansas, a team that was a lot of people's dark horse, some people's college football playoff dark horse, finally finding their stride in November.
Dustin Fletcher comes in to take over at quarterback, transfer grad student from Northern Illinois. Let's go downstairs to Trevor.
Fellas, just seeing Barrett Carter come off of the field, it exemplifies the love that this team has for their senior class, despite being as young as they are. Spoke with Cade Klubnik earlier this week, and he mentioned just knowing how many of them have been decimated by injury and how much the game of football means to them. Actions like that, plays like that are exactly what they hope to lift their spirits as they roll on into whatever this season holds in the remaining parts.
Good stuff. One other game to keep an eye on. Kansas has scored twice since we last checked in on that game. 37-21. That's manhandling Colorado.
Past 3 weeks, the Jayhawks crushing people's dreams. Happy for Jalen Daniels too. He was a quarterback with a lot of hype coming into the season and hadn't worked out for him through September and the early part of October, but finding his stride. That game's in Arrowhead Stadium too, a little different venue.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So this will take us under 5 minutes as the punt team will come out.
That's a game too, and I haven't glanced at the stat line, but could have Heisman Trophy implications too with Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. Ashton Genty waiting in the wings, hoping that someone stubs their toe. I know Travis Hunter is the Vegas favorite.
That's the coach's son right there, Clay Sweeney, waiting on this punt from Platt, straight up in the air. Come on, come get it. That's coach's son there. You don't let that thing bounce and go another 15, 20 yards, right?
If you drop that one, you're getting an earful, not only on the sideline, but at Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas morning, the whole deal.
So the Tigers will take over. 4:27 to go. Clemson will move to 9-2 on the year, and it really is. We were talking about all the great things that Dabo has done here. And the thing that he loves to talk about is Pierman comes on at quarterback. We mentioned his name a moment ago. 98% graduation rate. But when you consider in the history of college football, okay, and I mean, think of some of the great programs, the ones that come to mind all time, right? The all-time winningest school in the history of college football is Michigan. Ohio State and Alabama are tied for the second most wins. Okay, and then you start getting, remember the Oklahoma teams that they had all those years under Barry Switzer and, you know, even under Stoops. And you think about Miami of Florida, on and on and on and on. With a 9th win today, it would be 14 seasons in a row. Clemson has won 9 or more games. That ball batted in the air and intercepted. And then it's fumbled, but able to pick it up and still racing down the sideline. That's getting it done right there. Jeremiah Holmes on a tip pass.
Yeah, trying to work a little slant here. The ball comes out of the quarterback's hand wobbly. I think that led to a little bit of the mishandling receiver-wise. And Jeremiah Holmes, look what I found. Not used to holding the rock. No ball security. That right hand's taped too. Loses it. Luckily picks it back up. But what a play. Team defense for the Citadel.
Seen a little bit of everything in this game today. I mean, we've seen 2 defensive players score touchdowns. One on defense, Payton Page on the interception return. And then Barrett Carter getting a chance to go into the backfield and a rushing touchdown.
2 defensive linemen getting interceptions today. Klubnik takes it for a pick 6, and Payton Page. And when he was running, I was kind of expecting more of what we just saw from Jeremiah Holmes. The ball security concerns. Can't blame a guy who doesn't carry the ball that often.
Closing in on 3 minutes left. Ibrahim. Okay, the Citadel has a lot to anyway to finish up that thought about 9 or more wins in 14 straight years. The only 2 schools with longer streaks in the history of college football. 9 or more wins in consecutive years. Nebraska back in the late 60s all the way to 2001. They did it 33 years in a row. For a lot of the younger generation, they don't realize how great for how long Nebraska was. I mean, whether it was Tom Osborne, and then Alabama, which is still on that streak. Alabama will get win number 9 today to make it 17 consecutive years. But it only takes one little hiccup.
One down year, 1 year of your starting quarterback getting banged up early on. What a run that is. You talked about Nebraska. People hoping that Matt Rule can get that program back to that level. We talked about the run for Nick Saban.
Defense number 29. The penalty is enforced half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
And of course, Florida State, those were all the years under Bobby Bowden. It's just amazing. I mean, when you look at some of these teams, and we made reference to Indiana earlier, right now they lost today, but I mean, a school that had gone since the 1960s and in the history of the program had never won 10 games in a regular season. Not one time in the history of the program. And here, it's 14 years in a row where Clemson wins 9 or more games.
First time we've said Corey Ibrahim's name. Clemson up 51.
Take a look at our player of the game, brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, and motorcycle insurance. Progressive.com.
They're going to get Jay Haynes. I think if you asked Dabo Sweeney, who would you want to be the player of the game, he would have said Jay Haynes, because with Phil Maffa coming in here, maybe a little bit banged up, you knew it was an opportunity to give him a lot of carries. You saw the explosiveness. And in the post-Phil Maffa world that Clemson's about to enter going into next year, Jay Haynes showing what he can do.
So Fletcher out of the shotgun. Second down and goal from the 5. And it'll be Crawford to the 2. I'd like to send out a big-time congratulations to that man right there, our back judge, Barry Hendon. 30 years he's been an official. Think about all those weekends away from home, from your family, your loved ones, holidays, and all the rest of the team.
That's
fist
awesome
bump
right
for Barry.
There. That's awesome. So often refs are getting yelled at by the coaches. About the time we give them some praise. Hats off to you.
Absolutely. Great job. It looked like early movement there.
I think you got.
Prior to the snap, charge timeout. Citadel, their second of the half. It will be 30 seconds.
Maurice Drayton's smiling because he was on a dead sprint from the 35-yard line down to the goal line to get that timeout.
All right, so we update you on the standings, and again, basically, this is all you need to know, okay? SMU is already in the ACC championship game. Doesn't matter what they do the last game of the year, irrelevant, right? They take on Cal at home. Clemson can play in the title game if and only if Miami loses next week to Syracuse. Syracuse is an 8-3 team now, and that game will be on the Dome. Yes, they can, and Miami is prone to giving up piles of points, right? So, if you're a Clemson fan, you still got a shot.
Look at the other landscape of the conference, too. Pitt, unfortunately, lost 3 in a row and down big to Louisville right now. About to lose 4-0 after starting the season undefeated.
That a flag. Blown dead before it ever got started.
Ball start. Offense, number 55. 5-yard penalty. It's still third down.
Tell you, that Louisville team's a hard team to understand. I mean, they come down here to Death Valley, and they take it to these Clemson Tigers, and yet then they'll turn around and lose games, and you can't understand it.
Yeah. Somewhat of the story of the entire ACC for a lot of the teams. We've had Virginia stub their toe and come out flat. Then other weeks they're winning games and beating Pitt. North Carolina's a team that we've seen a couple times this year of starting slow, then they've stockpiled some wins, and then today they lay an egg.
Tar Heels got blown out of the gym today up at Boston College. You and I'll be there next week to wrap up the season. Tackle for a loss and a big one there on a third down. It'll bring up 4th and goal with a minute to go.
It's good recognition, trying to go the inside handoff, then you sweep all the way back around. Big Armand Mason, defensive end. Good job staying home, coming up with the sack. Or excuse me, tackle for loss.
Yeah, I'm having a mighty hard time understanding what in the world is going on at Arizona State. The Sun Devils could have kicked a field goal to go up by 8 points with 2.5 minutes to go and went for it on 4th down at the 11 of BYU and didn't get it. And now BYU's on the move. Tackle short of the goal line, and that's going to tie a ribbon around this one. Clemson will take over on downs, but look, the Citadel should not walk out of here hanging its heads by any stretch of the imagination.
They're trying to dial something up here. You roll out right, little throwback to the left. It's a good throw and catch, but great job by this Clemson defense recognizing that the Citadel's in an obvious passing situation.
Citadel came in here to Clemson against one of the most talented, yes, youthful defenses, but talented defenses in the country. Ran it 55 times for 288 yards. Future's bright at the Citadel.
Their offseason starts tomorrow. Coach talked about it in his coaches show this week. He's already put the plans in place for offseason strength and conditioning before the holiday season, and football season flies by. No postseason, no bowl game for the Citadel, but what a turnaround. 0 wins last year in year 1 for Coach Drayton, now 5 this season. Heck of a job.
And they'll get a chance next year to get into those playoffs. They've always had that playoff thing going on with more than 4 teams down at the 1AA level.
Seeing Garrett Riley
FCS
there.
level. The students were ready.
Charge timeout.
Oh, man.
Clemson's
the game
calling
is not
a time.
over.
Dabo wants him to call it now.
Correction. There is no timeout.
Yeah, game's over.
That is the end of the
that's
game.
the end of the game. Dabo is saying no. He's saying let that clock run. Congratulations to Dabo. 14 years in a row, 9 or more wins, man. That's incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. Congratulations to Coach Sweeney, his staff, his players, and all the fans of the Clemson Tigers.